So today I'm going to talk about how I am coping with the language barrier. Now, for those who don't know, I am Northern Irish. I originally came from a small county called County Down in Northern Ireland, and in October the 25th of 2018 I moved to the Netherlands. Now, for the first month and a half I was house sitting, so I didn't get to socialise with people that much apart from the checkout at the store. So that period of time I can't really talk about much when it comes to the language barrier because there wasn't really much talking. But when I moved into my own place in, I think it was late December, very late December I believe, mid to late December I think I moved into my new place. It became apparent because of my new job and stuff like that, I had to socialise much more. And because of the line of work I was in, a lot of the people didn't know English. So the language barrier was very much a thing. I worked for a cleaning company, which I recently left, but I worked for a cleaning company where I went into offices and cleaned offices and stuff. And from my previous experience in the Netherlands, I expected everyone to at least know some standard English, enough for me to understand. And that wasn't the case, which I was surprised to find. To be honest, I should have expected it, at least some people to not know English, but in my line of work I found that at least about 95 to 99% of people didn't know English. I maybe had one or two people who could speak half decent English, and then like one or two that spoke very broken English, enough for me to understand, but only just. And since that everyone else didn't speak English, they spoke fluent Dutch to me. And considering I don't really, at the time I didn't really know much Dutch at all, pretty much non-existent, even though I was trying to learn before I moved here, I still was absolutely dreadful at understanding it. And in my line of work I need to know what I'm doing. I need to know, where I need to clean, what I need to clean, how I need to clean, what needs done in a certain amount of time, what time I need to finish, so on and so forth, general information about my job. Due to the fact that everyone I worked with, who had been in the job for much longer than I, didn't speak English, I didn't know what I was doing. A lot of the time I was relying on body posture, body motions, gestures, and the like, and grasping at straws at the words that they were saying. I think one of the first sentences I learned was "Ik begrijp het niet," which basically means I don't understand. I'm so lost, I don't understand. Because they would often like say something in Dutch and then stop for me to go, yeah, okay, or something like that. But because I didn't know Dutch, I kind of sat there and went right over my head. I didn't know what they were saying, and it still happens to me to this day. And I've been working for this job for about 2 months. There was a lot of awkward moments. Now my social anxiety has gotten to a point where it's pretty much not a problem, but there still seems to be a little bit of anxiety when it comes to language, mostly because I want to know what they're saying and I want to say stuff, but I don't understand that. I don't have the vocabulary to express what questions I need to ask or what I need to say in Dutch. And it's frustrating for both parties in this sense, because I'm frustrated because I just want to do my job and I want to do it to the best of my ability. And they just want to get the job done so they can go home. And I get that. That's 100% understandable. I really, with this very stark experience, I'm understanding what it's like to be an immigrant, because that's basically what I am. And it's very frustrating. It's very annoying when you don't know how to communicate with someone. I'm fascinated by this whole situation. I'm fascinated by how things are playing out, but it's very frustrating. You have to have a lot of patience to figure out ways to communicate. You need to I found that you need to like do research. Google Translate may not be the best option, but it's a start. That's where I go when I need to learn a sentence, like, you know, that's why I use the Google Translate for sentences like I don't understand, or when do I finish, or stuff like that. Basically, I can't really think of many sentences other than that. The more I worked, the less I needed Google Translate, because a lot of it I was learning in the moment, very much like children learn, where it's learning through association. And they would ask me, alles klar? Which basically means everything ready, everything clean, everything done. And the word klar I didn't understand, so I was in that situation going, what? Eventually I understand, you know, that like klar means finished or ready. And I started using it myself, you know. It's like asking, is this area ready? Because sometimes with other cleaners, our places that we clean would overlap a little bit, so you'd have to ask if they'd already finished it, or if you might as well start cleaning it, stuff like that. There are little sentences I learned to communicate with my coworkers to at least get some sort of functionality out of my job and make it a little bit more easy for all of us. Especially in the last week, I have been using a lot more Dutch. It's still very broken Dutch with terrible grammar and pronunciation, but they appreciate it. They appreciate when I say, is er iets anders dat ik kan doen? Which, for non-Dutch speakers, is like, is there anything else I can do? I know my pronunciation is terrible, and my execution of it's probably not the best either, but it's enough for them to understand that, oh yeah, you can clean over here, kind of thing. And I really do notice that my coworkers have seen the change. They've seen that from basically going, what, to asking in full sentences, is there anything else I can do? They appreciate that. A little bit surprised, because they don't expect me to learn it so quickly, but I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best to learn Dutch so that I can communicate with people better. Because I'm good at communicating with people in my own language. It's just more when they don't speak the language I speak, the communication goes out the window, which is quite frustrating. You need a lot of patience to learn a language, and the only way that I can learn a language is if I live in a country, because I've tried learning French and I've tried learning Spanish through school, and it never worked out. None of it stuck. I can count up to maybe 20 in French and say hello, but that's about as much as I know in French these days. In Spanish, I don't know anything in Spanish anymore. That's it. Yeah, there's not much I know. But with the Dutch, because I'm here all the time, I'm hearing it all the time, I'm seeing it all the time, I'm reading it all the time, I'm constantly being bombarded by things in Dutch, from advertisement, from people I'm talking to, from people asking me questions. It's constantly in my face, and that's good. I have no problem with that. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's a great way for me to learn, because it is through, like the way children learn, through association, learning through association. And I believe that that method of learning is probably the fastest way of learning learning a language. Because the problem with me is I am a visual learner and a tactile learner, but primarily visual. If someone shows me how to do something, my brain goes, oh, I know how to do that. Yeah, sure. That's why when people gesture, clean tables and hoover and stuff like that, my brain goes, oh, I know what you mean. Where if they just say it and point, it's gonna go in my head. I ain't gonna understand what you're saying. Now, I've definitely noticed my improvement in Dutch has just gone like from this to, it's gone exponentially better. I'm still terrible at it, because I've only been here about 4 months now, and about 2 of those months I've been fully in the language. So I consider this a good feat, and I appreciate that I'm making progress. It's slow, but you need to start somewhere, and I hope to integrate the Dutch language more and more. Like one of my co-workers who used to speak English, but her English has pretty much depleted at this point. She was originally from Morocco, and she moved here like 18 years ago, and in the last 18 years she's actually lost her ability to speak English. I hope that doesn't happen to me, but yeah, like, it's easy to lose a language as well as gain one. So I don't know how long I'll be staying here, but probably long enough to become semi-fluent in Dutch, maybe longer than that. To describe how it feels right now, to listen to Dutch and to have people talk to me in Dutch, it's like an FM radio. If it's not quite on the channel right, you can hear a lot of static, but you can hear some words. It's kind of like that. It's like a lot of it's static and white noise, and my brain doesn't register it. But there are a few words I'll hear in a sentence where I'm like, oh wait, I know what you're saying. That'll kind of happen. That's how it feels to me. That's the best way for me to describe it. And there's good news also that will help me improve my Dutch learning. I applied for classes that are far cheaper than what you would normally pay at just a general company. The Expat Center recommended it to me, and I was put on the waiting list. I recently got a letter where they have booked me a test to do to see what level of Dutch I am at. I feel like I'm a beginner, so I applied for beginners, but they're doing a test to see where I am at and where they'll need to take me. So that's great. That'll be at the end of the month. And with the lessons alongside life experience, hopefully I'll be able to learn this language far faster. So I'm pretty excited for that. I'm pretty hyped on learning this language because I've always wanted to learn a language. I've just never had the attention span or the materials to do so. That's how I'm coping at the moment with my language problems. If you are learning a language or are deciding to move to a country where you don't know the language, please leave in the comments below. If you have any questions about this topic, also please leave in the comments below and I'll get to it as best I can. I hope this information was useful. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.